Hi everyone, I'm Daniel J. Hogan. Welcome to my making mini comics live stream thing. Yeah. We're about high quality content here at Daniel J. Hogan Studios. This is part of my new series of things I'm calling Everybody Can Draw, because I'm a firm believer in that. And tonight we're going to start out with just some comic making and cartooning basics. Here I'm trying to this new setup I have with everything was meant for me being on the iPad or playing a game. So when I have to move more to the side to get under the phone camera here, I have to kind of resituate everything. So bear with me on that. If you're watching on YouTube, you have two options. You can watch the normal horizontal feed, or there is a vertical feed, but I don't have any control over what that's actually showing. So if it doesn't look good, just go to the actual feed. It was an option. I thought I would try it. At some point I'll be able to manually configure that, but I figured it didn't hurt to try it out. So if it looks weird, just go to the regular feed. I didn't see a way where it would let me adjust it because it's kind of a new feature thing. So if you're watching on Twitch, I guess you have the way that works too. But you can join the chat on Twitch or on YouTube. I'll do my best to stay aware of what's going on. I'm actually not going to really draw on Bristol tonight. I'm just using this as a something to draw on for when I'm drawing on actual loose printer paper. So before we get into that, I'm going to recommend some reading materials, stuff that I'm actually taking some of my explanation lessons from. These are all great books. Ivan Brunetti is great. Really, I mean, yes, this is a essential guide to comics for kids, but you got to start somewhere. And I mean, it does say kids of all ages. So, but this is, if you want bare bones, I don't mean bare bones, but basics, fundamentals stuff for making comics. This is a great book. And I like his style, his very simple style, which is something I'm going to talk about later when we get to, cartooning stuff. But yeah, if you just want a very easy to read and follow along with thing about comics, this is a good one. Another one, this is one I actually recommend all the time for kids of all ages, but especially younger kids, Adventures in Cartooning. And there's actually several in this series. And let's get this. I don't know if the vertical thing on YouTube is working. Oh, okay. Maybe if I don't know what that, okay, whatever. Like I said, if you're watching the vertical feed on YouTube and it looks weird, just go to the regular thing, because I don't really have any control over it. So anyway, this is a really good book. It, again, like the other one, this should be the one I got. Yeah, this is the one I got signed at the MSU Comics Forum back in 2017. So yeah, this is a great primer on comics and stuff, how panels work. I'm not going to go through this book page by page, but this is again, if you want a simple explanation thing of making comics, especially for kids, but really anyone, this is a great book to get. I recommend this one a lot. If you want something a little more advanced and definitely more involved, Making Comics by Lynda Barry is also very, very good. This is essentially her comic teaching class she does, and this is way more advanced. I wouldn't get this for kids. Not that it isn't appropriate. I mean, there's definitely some great kid-friendly exercises in here, but it's a lot more to take in. But there's some really, really good stuff in here, and I need to actually get back into doing some of these because they're great exercises. And actually, this is how because she talks about Ivan Brunetti in here and his style. That's how I might have known about him beforehand, but she recommends him in this. And yeah, what do I have bookmarked here? Just anything important. Like this was an exercise where you had to like draw, a character. And yeah. So like I said, this is way, way, way more involved. So if you want something a little more advanced, check that out. Making Comics. There's also Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics and Making Comics. Those are very good, but those are more like textbooks. I don't mean that negatively. I mean that just as a description. Like they are great, but again, it can be a lot to take in, but definitely worth reading. Making Comics, especially if you want to make comics. But if you want, it's because I'm trying to like focus more on simple things that people can kind of jump right into. I would say these two books are great for that. And if you want a little more advanced stuff, check this one out. Okay. Put those aside for a minute. So I'm talking about mini comics, and what do I mean by that specifically? And we're digging in my archives here. So this is an example of a mini comic. Oh, got a couple of here. Okay, well, we'll do this. Well, we'll do this one first. So this is from my old website, clarotron.com. It's still there. I just haven't posted anything new to it. But so when I'm talking about, when I say mini comic, I'm talking about the ones I made. There's all kinds of ways you can make them, but for the sake of tonight, this is what I'm talking about. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. That's it. And so what I did for this is a story I drew like on, big paper, scanned the 4 pages, and I shrunk them down onto one piece of paper. This is like literally went to like a FedEx Kinko's and just printed these off like in like a bunch of them. And then you just, fold it. So like this is page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. So it kind of goes counterclockwise. But so if you were printing this, and this is like your, or you could do it like this. It doesn't really matter, but whatever. If you were laying this out in whatever program that you would use to fill an 8.5 by 11, printer page, because that's all this is. I didn't cut it down. This is the basic printer paper page. I had these separate images and just dropped them down, and obviously, so if this is up, then these were, right side up compared to me, and then these are flipped upside down, and then you print out the whole thing, and then you just fold it like that, and you got a little booklet. For this other one here, these are just individual random, like just comic strips I was doing. 10 years, 11 years ago. Boy. I miss making stuff like this. I need to go back to making just random gag comic stuff again. It's been a while. So yeah, again, this was just 4 separate images that I just scanned and dumped into probably Photoshop at the time and laid them out on a page, exported it as a PNG or something that wasn't super compressed. I'm trying to think. I might have done PDF. I don't remember. It was so long ago. And yeah, just literally took it to a FedEx Kinko's on a thumb drive. Thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl on YouTube says that she misses my comics. I miss them too. We're getting there. It's been a wild few years. So I'll just walk through the steps of some comic basics here, and then I'll walk you through making one. Problem is my phone camera mount actually covers up my chat window a bit. Let's see, can I fix that? Let's see. There we go. I can just... There we go. That's better. Now I don't have to like scrunch my head under a thing. So there's some basic things I'm going to go over right here. Here's a sheet I made for a workshop years ago. I'll go through all these. I don't expect everyone to read them, but I'll make it a little bigger. I can cut off that part here. Okay, so you see at the top of the page there. Let's see, I'll move this over here. Well, I might have to make this smaller so I can compare here. So when we say page, we mean the whole page. That's what we're talking about. And then on your page, you have panels. So for example, I'll go back to here, show this. So these are all separate. So this is the page. These are the panels on the page. And so on this one, this is a good example of having fun with panels. So normally you have like your lines for your panels. You can do different things with that. On this page, I did that where I did a weird outline for these panels to help indicate they were in the dark in a cave and sort of lost. With stuff like manga, sometimes they'll have different widths between the panels, like vertically versus horizontally. That's a whole other thing. So yeah, so when we're talking panels, we mean the little boxes where the action is happening. I'll just read off my thing here. So the story happens inside the panel on the page. Yep. Some comics are just one panel. If you look at your old newspaper comics, which are a dying breed, unfortunately, but stuff like The Far Side, modern day Heathcliff is one. Like it's just one panel. You know, it could be one panel. It could be 10 panels. You know, like this page here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, no. Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's a lot of panels. I was getting ambitious with that one. Yeah, I try to stick to 7 or fewer. I made this yeah, I made this comic basics sheet years after I drew these, so some of these I would definitely have done different. Yeah, and some comics use way more panels, some use way less than 7. It's fine. Yeah, and the so I guess we'll pause there for that just to show some quick examples of panel stuff here. So in as you might have saw in my comic basics thing, so we'll just doing some quick simple panels here. So these are panels. The space in between the panels is what's called the gutter, and so the idea of the space between panels is they can be passages in time. They can change, you know, you could have, like, say this is, let's draw a tree here. So say this is like spring. And then this would be fall. And then this could be winter. You know, and with snow and crap. So the idea is, you know, it's like scenes in a movie. You could be jumping between different locations, different times. You know, it could be, you know, however you want to think about it. You can get really philosophical. Scott McCloud's book gets really into that. I'm not going to dive into that, but if you've read a comic, you've seen gutters. That's what they're called. They're called gutters. And, you know, in the English reading and speaking world, we read left to right. So this is panel number 1. This is panel number 3. In places like Japan with manga, it's the opposite. So that's why the manga books are formatted differently. You can get some that are reformatted to read left to right, which some are okay like that. I prefer reading them the way they were meant to be read, but like when I first, to use a manga example, when I the first editions of Akira I had were Americanized, so they were flipped and whatnot, and then which meant everyone was left-handed. Everyone was shooting guns left-handed. You know, the majority of people were doing stuff left-handed. So, but when I got the fancy schmancy box edition, it was the original Japanese formatting. You know, still translated, but you know, so it made a difference. Okay, let me look at my thing here, see where we're at on that. Yeah, and you know, panels can be any shape you want, really. I mean, if you look at, again, this example, I got long horizontal ones, I got more square ones. If you go to you know, like this one is just a, you know, 3x3 grid, and these all excuse me, the idea here is like you know, the different panels are showing passage of time, etc. Yeah, so you can really do whatever you want. If you're starting out, I say simple is better. Keep things simple. Let's see here. Okay. Don't know why that's not working. Stuff ain't working. All right, whatever. Whoop. My chat bot things just scared me. All right, so what do I want to talk about next? So yeah, so that's panel stuff. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. I recommend keeping things simple. You know, for the sake of the experiment we're going to be doing today, what I will start out with is just do this now, I guess. Yeah, we'll just do this now. If I did this, that. Let's see, maybe I can recycle this here. So if you wanted to follow along at home, just take a piece of printer paper, I mean any paper really, it doesn't matter, and then just fold it up. Make sure you fold this right. There you go. And you have yourself a little booklet. So if you wanted to make a very, very simple 1, 2, 3, 4 panel mini comic, you could just do it like this. So this will be panel 1. This will be 2. This will be 3. And that'll be 4. So if you don't want to worry about, you know, drawing panels like this, you could have just the whole thing is your panel. You can totally do that. I mean, you could do a border if you wanted. Doesn't matter. This is just for fun or just playing around. You know, you could do that just to give yourself a little boundary. Let's see. Could I make a little comic about? I had an idea earlier and I forgot what it was. But really, it can be anything. So really, you just got to think of, you're telling a story in 4 parts in this case. If you wanted to, with this, you could just have a title thing here, and then it would just be 3 parts. Or even you could have a title thing here, info about you on the back, and then just, it could be, you know, 2 panels. You can really do whatever you want. Here, we'll do this. We'll do there's a little shark. Oops. I guess we'll do this. Again, just to keep things consistent, we'll do this little border thing. Okay. So we got shark in panel 1. This is just gonna be super simple. I know what we'll do here. So we'll do a little, meets a little fish. And then, let's see here. There we go. That easy. So we got a shark. He's just swimming. He sees a little fish. He's like, he gets this guy's angry eyebrows. The fish is, you know, surprised. Fish opens up its mouth, swallows the shark, and then it's just a little fish. See, simple little thing. Easy. And that's one way to make a mini comic. Like I said, you could really, I mean, you could break this up into like, you know, 2-3 panels a page, make this as long as stories you want. But I mean, the thing to remember is if you're doing each of these by hand, if you just want to make one, that's fine. But if you're looking to make multiples of something to like give out or sell or whatever, then probably don't want to draw them by hand. You could draw one and then scan it and then you know, get it printed off or whatever. It's if you want to make 10 individual mini comics is the same thing by hand, go right ahead. More power to you. Like, that's great. I will not stop you. But yeah. So that's that. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's you know what, I will, since this is here, use some of this Bristol because why not? So let's go over some comic cartooning stuff. Okay, yeah, we'll yeah, so there at the bottom it says space between panels is the gutter. Use it to change scenes, the shot. So to go from like, you know, far away to like super close up, or show a passage of time like I did with the seasons thing, you know. And, you know, your panels can be really what any shape you want. If you're starting out, I recommend sticking to like squares and rectangles just to keep it simple, because when you start doing weird stuff, you might have troubles with readability. So, oh, that reminds me. Yeah, that's something I got to talk about. So I mentioned how panels go left to right to read them. So what we got to do here is also talk about, so let's say we got this big panel here, these little panels here. Actually, we'll do this. So this is panel 1, so we're going left to right, and then we go down here to panel 2 to continue going left to right. So this is 3. And then this is 4. That's 5. And that's 6. Just to kind of give you a, see if I can, I know this is, see if I get too close to the camera, you can't actually see it because the light's too bright, but. So that's stuff you want to keep in mind. I went to film school, so I got I have a background in like learning like how to like look at scenes and how you read stuff and how visually stuff should flow. So for example, if you have, say you have a panel of, I'm just gonna, that's where this is, what else I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna switch to a pen here. So it'll show up better. There we go. So say you have someone, the scene is they're going to a shop, they're going into a building. You would do it something like this, typically. I mean, you can break the rules, it's fine. Like, so they're going this way. Like, you wouldn't really, again, you can play with this stuff, but really you wouldn't want to have it like, especially if you have like a second, if it's like a single panel at the top, then whatever. But if this is like panel 1 and panel 2, you don't really want the person going this way into a door, and then the second panel is them, you know, kind of facing that way. You want to keep your line of action, as it's called, going in the same direction. But again, if this was just, you know, one panel heading to the left, that's probably okay. But so if you had a basic thing like, I should probably be drawing this bigger, but you'd want them, you know, going this way. This is them doing whatever. Like, say they're inside and they're like, you know, maybe looking at stuff in those directions. And then once it's down to this panel, you can kind of do whatever. But the point I'm getting at is you don't want the same character like going this way in panel 1, and then panel 2, all of a sudden they're looking this way. You want to, yes, comics, Cheryl on YouTube says comics are like a storyboard. Absolutely. Like, you don't want to have a reverse thing like that. That's called breaking the line. Again, you can break the rules when it comes to some stuff, but it's a good idea just to kind of pay attention to what your line of action is, what you're doing. That's something to pay attention to. Sorry, I'm just thinking about stuff. Okay, so there's ways, you saw here on the sheet. So I have different like speech balloons, thought bubbles and stuff, and we'll go over that. So that's what we call a speech balloon. Speech bubble, thought balloon. I mean, they're kind of interchangeable, but again, you can do what you want, but these are like the standards that have been sort of accepted over the decades. So this is like a speech balloon. That's them saying something. And then that's them thinking something. And then if you wanted to do like a whispering sort of thing, you do like this dashed thing. It's like a broken up balloon. I'm gonna tilt this down just a There we go. And now I'm getting cut off. Can't win. Like, so they're kind of whispering. And then, of course, if you have someone yelling, you do like the big spiky action balloon thing. And so you can see here also what I did with like this one, I wrote the text in like lowercase, like smaller font. And then this one, I drew it in uppercase, like thicker letters. That's something else you can do. to kind of convey, you know, what's going on. Some people don't use balloons. They'll just be like, that, something like that. You know, it's, again, you can do what you want, but just be aware this is what, you know, the common standards are. Okay. Yeah, I forgot how much I like drawing on Bristol with the ink pen. Okay, I think that's all that was on that cheat sheet thing I had here. Yeah. And really the best thing you can do to learn about making comics is just to read as many comics as you can. And I mean like different comics, not just like Marvel DC stuff, which is, if that's what you like, that's fine. But I mean, definitely like read manga, read, you know, autobiographical stuff, read, you know, all kinds of things. There's way more things out there beyond, you know, Spider-Man and Superman. Nothing against either of them, but there's all kinds of stuff and all kinds of different things, and you can learn a lot by just reading different people's takes on comics. Okay, so let's get into maybe just some cartooning basic stuff. Yeah. So when I'm selling at art festivals, I hear too many times, oh, I can't even draw a stick figure, which I hate hearing because everyone can draw a stick figure. Everybody can draw a stick figure. So what you got to think about is like, you know, can you write the letter O? Yeah. Okay. Can you write the letter T? Yeah. Can you write the letter V? Yeah. Well, congrats. You now have all the components to make a stick figure. It's that simple. That's literally all it is. It's a circle, a T, or cross, whatever you want to call it, and then a V, you know, flipped upside down. You could say this is a carrot or an arrow, whatever, but that's, you know, that's a stick figure right there. Of course, you can just, you know, do it without thinking like that or whatever, but it's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that because you can do a lot with that. So, especially with the faces, like you can have a blank face if you want and still have them, like, you know, tell your life story, like, you know, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want. That's the fun thing about comics is you can experiment. And same thing with the cartooning. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to like get into like adding face features, again, it's simple. Like, can you draw the letter U or write the letter U? Well, look, you got a couple of eyes right there. If you do this, do the letter C, you got a couple ears. Then you can do like a big U there, and you got a mouth. Easy. And just keep doing it over and over and over again, and you'll get to the point where you're not even really thinking about, oh, I gotta draw a V, I gotta draw a T, I gotta draw a C, you know, whatever. It's just, it comes naturally. You just gotta do it. Now, if we want to get into like some real fundamental stuff here, you have your basic, you know, cartoon. I should still use the ink. Your basic cartoon circle face here. What you can do is picture you have like these dividing lines on the face, and you want like the eyes above the line and then the mouth below the line, and then the ears kind of even with the line. And that's it, you know. And you could do different shapes for the head. You could do a square. That's a rectangle, not a square. But same thing. So what's fun about this is you can put this line all the way up here. So we'll do that. And we'll shake it up. We'll do some half circles for the eyes. You know, yeah, I need to stick the using the pen. That lead's not showing up too well with the... Might be a little better. But I'm going to do the same exact rectangle shape up here. Just a rectangle. If you want to pretend it's two L's or it's an L and a 7, there you go. But same thing. So what I'm going to do here is, let's do this. Something that'll show up. There we go. There we go. If I do those cross lines down here, you know, I got a face. These are the same shapes. I'm just moving the eye line, you know, in this case farther down, in this case all the way up. I'll do this to help. Well, that's it. You know, you can do a triangle. Same thing. And this is one of those things, once you do it enough, you don't even have to think about it. You get used to like how stuff lays out. Like we could say this pal's got a hat, you know. Easy. Do the same thing here, just lower the eye line. Say it's one of those old princess hat things. You know what I mean, the conical hats that they'll wear. See, same head shape. You can do lots of different stuff with it. So when I'm like really drawing, I wouldn't do it like that. So I would do, you know, something like this and figure out what it's going to be. And then I'll go over it with ink. You know, to finalize it. And then, you know, later I would erase the pencils. I definitely recommend, if that's the way you're going, as light a lead as possible, because otherwise you'll be spend a lot of time erasing stuff, which I'm not going to do because it's going to make the camera shake and we're all going to get motion sickness, and I don't want that. Stop moving. But, you know, there's ways to get rid of that if you're A method I use lately for stuff is sketch on like a piece of paper and then get the paper that I want the final thing to be on, and I have what's called a light box. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just, I mean, think of a tablet with like a blank screen, just the lights coming up, and I would put the original drawing on the pencil drawing on it first, then I'd put the new paper on top of that so I could see the pencil drawing through it, and then just use that as a guide with the ink pen on the new paper and draw it that way. That's how I do some of my newer drawings. Not so much my found cartoons, which I just do those straight to ink with the color shape. Yeah, those are some simple cartooning things right there. And, you know, your heads can be any shape. A great thing to practice if you just, again, want to play around, have practice, like just draw, you know, a page full of different shapes. I mean, they could be all circles if you want. It doesn't matter. And then just like, don't even worry about the cross lines if you don't want to. Just like practice. Making funny faces. Just have fun. Cheryl on YouTube asks, do I add color to comics? Yes. It depends. So, when I'm doing them digitally, yes, it's very easy just to add color. If I was drawing stuff on paper, depending on the look I wanted, I could either scan I could scan the pencils and dump that into the drawing program on my iPad and ink it there and add the color there, do both of those digitally, or I could scan an inked drawing, dump that into something on my iPad and add color to that as well. If it was something where like it was all on paper, where I had to do the color on paper, I could totally do that. Depending on the paper I'm using, it might be, you know, watercolor, it might be markers, that sort of thing, but you can totally do that. It's what you could use, crayons if you want. It doesn't matter. Like, for example, dang it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, here's a great example. So these are comics I made years ago. Actually, I'll just fold this up here so we can see how this works. So again, this is another one where I made all these, dumped them into a program, shrank them down, and formatted them on, an 8.5 by 11 file type page, exported it, and then, just printed it out on a color printer. I made so many of these, I did not make these for tonight. Like, these are just old ones I still had. Okay. So for these ones, how I actually did them was I sketched them out on graph paper. So I could, have all the panels lined up nice. Like, and I'm talking like rough sketches. And then I think I didn't even scan it. I think I just took a picture of it with my phone and dumped it into, I might have scanned it. I can't remember, but regardless, I put it into, would have been Manga Studio at that point, now known as Clip Studio Paint. Back then it was called Manga Studio. And then I just would drop the JPEG on the background, and then would recreate the panels with an ink tool in the program, and then, you know, ink over my sketches, same thing. And then once all the sketch stuff was done, I would, you know, or ink stuff was on, I would delete that layer, or hide it at least, that had the original like scanned image on it. And then and that's when I would add the color digitally, which would be like, so this, my hand here, this is the ink layer, and then the colors would actually be underneath it. So the ink is on top of the color, and you do what's called, you make your ink layer, use one of the blending options, and it's like multiply or something like that, or I can't remember, but it essentially says whatever's below this layer, you know, let show through. So I mean, it wouldn't matter because I wouldn't have anything solid on the ink layer anyway. It would just be, the background would be empty except for the black lines for the inking. And then yeah, you just color underneath it and then fill it all in, and that's that. So this is an example. So when I made these, let's see here, this is, so it's a date on this, 2015. And this was, I probably don't have a date on this. Oh, 2017. Okay, so this is 2 years after this. So like these ones, I was drawing these just on like Bristol like this, and scanning it, and, you know, like drawing it with pencil, inking with pen, scanning it, cleaning it up, and then that's how I would put it out. And then by the time I got to these, it was basically all digital. With these, I really tried to stick to no more than 4 panels, or no more than 7, but I tried to stick to around 4 at the max if I could for these ones, just to, again, to keep things simple. Let's check where we're at here and stuff. Okay. So yeah. Give me a break. Give me a sec here. I gotta get some water. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Other stuff we could talk about. Yeah, so this is why this is a good starting point, because this, like I was saying, just get used to drawing circles, triangles, squares, and rectangles. And really, that's the building bones for a lot of stuff. Like, see how here, this is how Brunetti here, again, you got your circle face. This is the eye line thing I was talking about. But you can see here, you have different examples. Like here, there's, the eyes are straight on the line. This one, they're a little above. This one, they're a little below. I don't think I do have my, yeah, I think I said my Ed Emberley book. Okay, dig that out. But then, see, these are just all the shapes you use to do, like, these expressions, sorry. Just circles and lines. Everything really is just, that's the majority of stuff. If you can write a 0 or the letter O, you're like 60% of the way there. Like if you can write a 0 and the letter T, you're golden. I mean, you just like don't have to think like you have to be, you know, a master drawer right out of the gate. It takes practice, and you will get better. So I say everybody can draw. You just got to start by thinking how simple things can be, and then once you get better or, you know, get more used to it, then you can advance what you're doing. But there's nothing wrong with simple. Like, look at this mouth. That's just a line, half circle, a full circle, like, you know, ears, noses. These are all simple shapes. Everyone can do that. And then we got emotions, you know. Like a lot of emotion stuff in cartooning is what the eyes are doing and the mouth, but really, even for some of these, like if you didn't see the mouth, you could probably still figure out what's going on. Oh, this one you might be a little difficult, but you know. But if you can master, you know, what you do with the eyes, like that's a lot of it right there. This is just a fun book. Like I really recommend it. And there's no shortage of how to draw books, how to cartoon books, you know. I have dozens of them myself. But let's see if I can find so how I learned about Brunetti was via this book, and she had a whole thing where she's like, we're going to use the Brunetti method for making characters. Let's see if I can find that. Where she kind of breaks down, like, this is how we're going to draw our characters. Let's see. Like I said, this is a way more advanced book. I wouldn't recommend this for like young kids. Teenagers, sure, but like little kids, no. There's much better options for little kids. There we go. That's it right here. Yep, cartoonist Ivan Brunetti identifies a different way of drawing a simple character that is especially useful for those who need a way to begin. Follow these steps. So I'll just walk through this and then I'll do it myself. So draw, you know, 2 basic shapes, the head and the body. Then you add simple limbs and features. Then you embellish it and you add details. Easy. So that's what I'll do. And when I was real good about doing journal comics on the regular, they're on my Patreon. They're you gotta be a patron to read them, but that's the style I was doing. And like, she might even, I mean, this is how I learned how to do it. Let's see here. Yeah, see, the Brunetti style. That's what she's talking about. Let's see. Something about journal comics, which is a great habit. And again, like a lot of stuff, I need to get back into doing it because it was really good. This is something like I probably should have like looked at this ahead of time and bookmarked it, but I didn't think of it till tonight, you know, when I'm in the moment of things, but it's okay, because there we go. This is it. So this is what Lynda Barry's like daily diary thing. Like you can, again, you can make this as complicated or as simple as you want. Like you can write down stuff you did, you saw, heard someone say, and question about. The idea is this is supposed to give you an idea about what to draw about. And on this side of the page, you know, you draw yourself in the scene, including your whole body, engage in some action. You do it in 5 minutes. Like, so yeah, and then you write about it, you know, and what I liked about this is I had 5 minutes, so you can't overthink it. Like you just gotta, you know, do it. So again, Making Comics by Lynda Barry. Check it out. And then, yeah, this is like, I literally just bought like a, and that's what she recommends. I don't remember exactly where she says it, but like one of those, black and white composition books where it's, you know, just the lined paper, and that's, you know, I would write down something I did, something I saw, something I overheard, and then, you know, a question, and then would draw something that happened in the day and then write about it. I mean, it was a good, again, I need to get back to doing that. It was a good thing to do. Yeah. Crap. Dang it. Forgot what I was doing. This mess is a place. Should bookmark that page. Where are you? Dang it. No, that was okay. That was that. So it was before this. And if anything, this is a lovely book. Like it's great. Right. Okay. Here we go. So that's what I'm going to do. So simple shape. You got a circle. Body. And simple limbs and features. So we'll just do and then you can add details and like say they're wearing a I don't know, a weird spotted shirt, because why not? And then maybe they're wearing glasses, because why not? And then they got hair, because why not? And if you're worried about how to draw hands, then just, you know, whatever, just do that. It's fine. You can always make stuff more complicated earlier or later when you're more comfortable. If you want to keep stuff simple to start out, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with simple. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting things out simple. And just play around. That's all you need to do. Just play around and have fun. So here's what I'll do. I'll do the 5-minute thing here. I gotta figure out what it's gonna be about today. Something that happened today. And so it's got to be full body, like in a scene. So it's and like she said, so stuff I saw or did. So stuff I saw. I mean, I didn't really leave the house today, so I didn't see too much. But I saw my cat sleeping. And if you're like stuck for ideas about what to draw or what to make comics about, I mean, this is a great thing. So stuff I saw. I saw. I watched Deep Space Nine. Gold Star Trek. And let's see some other things I saw. Like I said, I didn't leave the house today. So today may not be the best. Yeah, let's we'll do last night. So last night, Friday, we went to a art reception opening. Art reception. Saw artists. Saw art. You know, paintings, vases. Went to the pizza place next door, so I saw, you know, pizza parlor. Different kinds of pizza. I guess I might be like conflating these with stuff I did too, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, so I know what I'll do, because so when we were at the pizza place last night, Steph, my wife, had her heart set on the last piece of nacho pizza they had out there, and the guy in front of us was like kind of going down the case and like basically like ordering one of everything, and she was really worried that he was he was gonna take the last piece of the nacho pizza, and she was prepared to like be like, sir, please don't. But spoiler alert, that didn't happen. So, but that's something I can make a comic about. So let's see. So again, this is another thing, we're getting more in the technical side of stuff, but what you really want to do, you want to do your text first and your dialogue first, because you don't want to draw stuff like fill up like most of your panel here, and then you only have like a small space for all your dialogue. So what you really want to do is figure out your speech balloons or thought balloons first, because that's going to kind of dictate the rest of the room. And also, you know, if it's important to the panel, you know, that is important. Now you can do comics with no dialogue, which actually that's what well, I mean, the one we made earlier, there's no dialogue in this, but we know what's going on. You know, it's a simple story. Shark runs into a smaller fish he thinks he's going to eat, but the smaller fish ends up eating him. You know, but there's no dialogue here. You could have dialogue, like you could have him thinking, I'm hungry. I think this works better without words, but this is for the sake of this explanation. Yeah, so there you go. So like if this was like a finished like nice comic I was going to do, like this would all be pencil first. I would figure out where the text is going, then sketch out the stuff, and again, that's getting more technical than we need to at this point. But so okay, I'm gonna do this for 5 minutes here. I don't know if I can do a timer on the screen. I know there's ways to do that, but I'm not gonna worry about it because it'll take me more than 5 minutes to figure that out. So I'm just gonna set 5-minute timer on my watch, and we're gonna go. So yes, this is sloppy, but that's kind of the whole point. Is just to like, you're not overthinking it. You're just kind of going for the vibes. It's up 2.5 minutes, but that's basically it. So it's just me doing a quick, recap of what Steph was thinking about when, I mean, their size proportions are not great here, but whatever. But, I got time, so I can just kind of fill in the background here. Let's, whatever. Still got a minute. But again, the idea is we're not going for fine art. You just want to get something on the paper, which is, what I tell people when they ask about, I'm not inspired to do stuff or I don't know what to do. I'm like, anything's better than zero. Like if you just drew that, that's still better than not drawing anything. Like And then like a lot of this stuff is it's habit building. If, you know, you get in the habit of every day you just draw a smiley face, then, you know, some other day you decide to experiment and you draw a different expression, or you add more details and that sort of thing, because you're comfortable with the smiley face or whatever. And but seriously, this guy ordered like 7 pieces of pizza. Okay, we're done. I don't think you can see it, but okay, so that was 5 minutes. I didn't probably need the full 5 minutes, but you know, we did a comic. And again, that's from Lynda Barry's Making Comics. Just doing a quick 5-minute drawing of something I saw or did. This was last night, but you know, we went to get pizza at a place, and the guy in front of us, this isn't a problem. Like, I'm not complaining, but I'm just sharing that he just kept going down the case, like ordering a bunch of, I mean, he was probably ordering for other people or whatever. It's fine. It's totally fine. But the funny part was, or interesting part was, the story is there was one slice of the nacho pizza left that they had out, and that's what Steph wanted. And she was very concerned that he was going to grab it. And she was prepared to not fight him, but, you know, ask him nicely to consider something else so she could get it, because she was very much looking forward to that. I honestly think they probably had another nacho pizza, or could have made one. You know, I don't think they wouldn't have had any more, but who knows? But, you know, that's the story. And the whole point of this exercise that she has in the book is it makes you think about, what did I see today? What did I do today? You know, what did I overhear? And then just turning it into, this took 5, I mean, I actually did this in under 5 minutes, but, you know, I'm used to drawing fast. And like I said, for a stretch, I was actually doing these every day and posting them on Patreon. I should get back to that. That was nice. But the 5-minute time limit thing is, it's important because you don't have time to overthink stuff. You just I gotta do this real quick. I'm not going to belabor detail. I'm not going to worry about it. And the good part of that is if you keep doing this, you get better at quickly roughing stuff out. And then you see that, you know, if you wanted to do this, like, I already did that, but, well, whatever. Like, you could literally do it like this. Like, if that's all you did, great. That's still better than not doing anything. And look how simple that is. That's very, you know, this is the same idea. Just, this is already simplified. This is even more simple version, you know. And if this is all you did for like a month every day, or whatever, every other day, or once a week, I mean, you're gonna get to something like this pretty quick. So, like I say, everybody can draw. It's just about, you know, getting over that initial hurdle of, God, for a second, I thought I hadn't unmuted my mic for like the last 20 minutes or so, which has happened, but no, we're good. So we're fine. Yeah. We're good. Yeah, so the whole like I can't even draw a straight line. I can't draw a stick figure. Don't fall into that frame of thinking. Everybody can draw. It's very, very easy. Like I said, if you can write the letter O, the letter T, and the letter V, you are like, that's a stick figure. Easy. And then it's just a matter of getting used to drawing that. And, you know, you can do a lot with stick figures if that's all you do. Like, look at this. These are just stick figures. This reminds me, I should get into something about, so word balloon placement is something to think about too. Obviously for this isn't refined. This is just quick and easy, but this is why you want to do your text first. Because I did this here, because I know this guy's going to go here, and I did her text under it. I mean, she's not that much shorter in real life, but actually that guy was kind of tall, but it doesn't matter. But by having this text on top of this text, you read this first, you know, again, left to right, and then you go down, you read this and you go down to here and you read her text. So having hers under his text makes sense. Now, I could have done it the other way and had her text up here and his under that, but I don't know. I think reading wise, it makes more sense to have him first and her under it. So, seeing if other spaces where I can recycle. So like, for example, let's see here. Oops, dang it. So if you have like people ask like, hey, they're asking a question and this is their response to it, you want this one on top. Now, if we did it, you know, if you did it this way, where it's the same text, I mean, depending on the context of the scene, this would probably still work, but here, I'll do a better example. Where, let's see here. I got it. So if we did someone like here saying, what time is it? And this other person's answering, it's noon. Like, so that makes sense because we're reading left to right, top to bottom. So what time is it? Noon. Now if we did this, like did it the other way, that doesn't really make sense because they're saying noon. Again, how we read comics here in English and the States, etc. This wouldn't make sense because they're answering it before you're reading the question. So that's something to pay attention to when you're laying out your word balloons. You want to, you know, don't mix up the order. Like, so this is 1, this is 2. Like, this would be 1, this would be 2. So you don't want that. That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go back and revisit. So again, this was just one piece of paper. This is just basic printer paper. It could be any paper, I don't care. Any sort of blank paper you got. Like if you want to make a mini comic at home, well, here, I'll walk through the process again here. I can't really, I mean, I could do with this, but this is Bristol. It's very thick. You don't want to do it with that necessarily. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I put too much stuff on my thing there. So again, just reflecting light back at myself. Simple basic printer paper, 8.5 by 11. Fold it once. And then fold it twice. You want this to go this way because you want to, you know, that to be the thing, the front page. That's twice. There, 2 folds, and you got a little booklet. Easy. There's other ways to do this. Like you could even fold this again if you really wanted to. Which actually, no, that doesn't that doesn't work the way I thought. Never mind. Forget I did that. I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, like there's other ways to. I had one at one point that explained different ways to do it, but there's other ways to make mini comics, and especially if you're just printing stuff out and then like stapling things together, there's other ways to do it. But if you want a simple, basic, I mean, that's 4 pages right there. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to split the panels up, I mean, I would draw them better than that, but you know, you can do whatever you want. Like you could make this so this is a good thing to talk about. So this would be, you know, you'd be one, you'd go here, then here, then here. So remember that. Left to right, top to bottom. So in this case, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom. But yeah, you can, like I said, you can do whatever you want for the panels here. Or, you know, one we did earlier, we just did a single panel on each page. You know, it's that simple. You got a simple 4-panel story. Easy. And you don't, like even before when I first did this, you don't even have to have dialogue. You can just have 4 different pictures telling a story. Which I enjoy doing. Like this old mini comic I did years ago, like there's no dialogue here until these last 2 panels. So it's just all visual storytelling. Sorry, I'm just reading again for the first time in years. I just thinking of some stuff I might do differently. Fun stuff. Okay. So, I mean, that's the basics of making mini comics. And they can be as simple or as complicated as you want them to be, you know, like anything. You know, but if you want a good overview of stuff, I highly recommend this book and the other books I showed earlier. Like this one will walk you through simple cartooning stuff to make comics. Let's see here. Like, can you draw simple stuff like this? You know, then you can draw other things. This is a good book. I like this one a lot, actually. Yes, they talk about panels. Comics are made up of many little picture boxes, which are called panels. Yeah, this is a really good. Yeah, so this, like here, they're explaining scene changes. You know, it's the same. The joke is it's the same static drawing of the character, but the background has changed, so you can show different. Like it's a really good book. It's why I recommend it. And this is a good example of fun you can have with panels. So like they're ascending a mountain, and so they have these panels like, you know, on the page broken up and ascending. And again, we're going left to right, although I guess it's kind of breaking the top to bottom rule, but whatever. It's, you know, it's still going left to right. I mean, if these were all in a row, they would still be left to right. And then they're doing the opposite going down, which is fun. Just trying to think if there's anything. I mean, this whole book is good. I know I've said that a million times, but I'm trying to think if there's anything specific that's worth pointing out here. It's a funny, cute story. Yeah, here we go. I think there's stuff at the back for like... There we go. This is what I was looking for. So, panel where your drawings go a moment in time. The gutter is the space between panels. Tier, one row of panels. Word balloon, thought balloon. You know, points to whoever's talking. Different shapes. this gives you little tips on like how to show he's frustrated, how to show excitement, how to show he's sleepy, you know. And shows you how to draw some of the characters, but again, they're just all simple shapes and you just keep, you know, building on it. Cute. And there's more in this series. I think I have the other ones at the studio, but yeah, they're all good. Check them out. I think I'm gonna call it good for tonight because I hit all the main stuff I wanted to hit, and you know, I'll have more live streams in the future, and we can do more cartooning stuff and whatnot. But this was a good just first thing for me to do to talk about this, and you know, going forward, I can maybe have other ideas on how to do this. But yeah, I'm gonna call it good also because my throat's getting kind of dry, and I don't want a scratchy sore throat tomorrow. So I'm gonna call it good for tonight. So thank you for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I'll for sure be back this coming Wednesday with more Stardew Valley. 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's Michigan time here. And yeah, so normally I do art stuff Sunday night. I decided not to this Sunday because Super Bowl's tomorrow, and also there's other stuff going on, and I just decided there's no reason I can't just do it Saturday instead. So, and I was just curious how it would go doing it on a Saturday as well. So yeah, so I'll be back this Wednesday. If you can't make that, come back next Sunday. And thank you for watching, and I will see you later. So have a good night. Thank you. Bye.